Hello and welcome to my channel, and I am Dr. Princess. Today we continue with the topic family safety plan and how to develop yours. We'll quickly take a review of what we did in the last video so that we can progress. For those who were not able to see that, let's do this. The essence of a family safety plan is to document measures and practices to preserve the very lives of our children, their health, and their bodily integrity. I hope you remember that from the last video. A family safety plan can help us to protect our children by creating a safer environment for them. And this is very vital, where they can be able to discuss their worries, they can, talk about boundaries, privacy, and of course, how to get help just in case we need help. It is an essential tool in keeping our families safe. With the hyper-sexualized world that we live in and the access to information that our children have, the internet and different other sources that bring in information to them one way or the other, we have to be able to make sure that we do have a very tight-watered family plan that keeps them safe. And it has to be created by the family, if we remember from the last video, and also not just that alone, describes in detail what the family will do on a day-to-day basis to make sure that our children are safe and remain safe. It's important to know what are the risk factors and what risk factors might look like. For example, I'll give something like, is the risk of someone abusing our child. And that's a risk factor, that it could be something like being in, close proximity to a child, or a child not being supervised. Making a family safety plan can help in keeping them safe, particularly from our topic of concern, sexual abuse. Okay, number one is to get education, and that comes in two phases. For yourself first, you and your spouse, and then secondly for your children, and of course anybody who lives within your space. So what do you do with get education? You need to update yourself on what is going on around this topic. What is child sexual abuse? What are the warning signs? What are the triggers? What could dispose a child to be abused? What do you need to keep in your home, or many things around it? There's quite a lot about that also in terms of what you need to know. You need to understand healthy sexuality and behavior and growth and much more. So next is you now have to educate your children, because if you have a bit of understanding, then you can educate your children and also educate anyone who lives in your environment, which means within your space. And this leads me to the next phase, which is open communication. Yes, your children must be able to approach you to talk. And in family system, we have something we call open day. In open day, is it that day where there is no retribution? Everybody can say what's on their mind about anyone. It could be your 4-year-old saying, I don't like the way daddy eats. Or your wife saying, I don't like it when I serve food and you people don't finish it. Different things and different issues. So on open day is also a place to be able to get pointers for your safety plan. And this allows your children to have access to you and encourage them to speak up so they can tell you things. Okay, so next is access. Access, of course, has to do with your children still being able to walk up to you. It's not open day. It's a day where anytime where they feel something is happening to them and they can walk up to you and say something to you about how they feel. Now, let's not behave like our fathers. I could even say including me, because I had to change too. I'm a grandma, like I said earlier. So we had parents that we couldn't approach. Do not be that parent that your child cannot approach. Your child should be able to come to you and tell you when something is on their mind, no matter how old they are. So that's for access. And next is boundaries. Oh, boundaries and privacy. We need that urgently. You need to know also that today's children are not like old school children. In those days when we were growing up, for me, my dad could undress in front of me when I was growing up, if I could remember. And that was nothing. There was nothing, that's coming up behind my head about that. And you could walk in on us. Now, I'm not saying this, I'm not talking about how family cultures, we also have what we call family cultures, happen. So boundaries today, you cannot start, there's an age where you have to stop undressing or bathing with your child. If you do, some are already doing that, so kudos to you guys, but some are not. So you need to know that there's time where your child needs to knock on the door and be told, come in. And the same goes for them. You don't barge into their rooms, for those of you who have such space. So boundaries are so important that there's a lot of things to teach children. And that also, I'll give an example quickly. When maybe a guest comes to the house and your child does not feel like hugging or give a peck or give a kiss, and you're insisting, you need to be conscious of those times where you're able to pick signals from your child, responses to adults and teenagers. And the next on our list is internal and external security. Who are trusted adults that you or your child can depend upon? Very important. They can be in-house and they can be outside, maybe like the school, or for some people in church or in their Quranic schools, wherever the children need to have trusted adults and yourself. And they can still be family members, but it's important that you mark out who are these people that can be depended upon. And then next is, what resources are available to you in your local environment? Organizations who work in this particular area, who work with children, like a child advocacy center, therapists in your environment, hospitals, particularly children's hospitals. You want to have an idea of what resources are available, and even those who are teaching on prevention, that you can access them, their training or their materials. And of course, books. You can get books, and you can also get books to read for the children, books for yourself, courses for yourself, courses for the children that they can take and increase in their capacity to be able to prevent sexual abuse. So next and last for today is get help. Sometimes we are overwhelmed. Sometimes we do not understand what is going on. When you see something you don't understand, and maybe you've tried in your own way to stop, but it's not working, please, when it comes to the issue of sexuality and sexual abuse of children, please get help. Like inappropriate sexual behavior that you don't understand, why is my child doing this? It's important. Like some people will say a 3-year-old is pulling his penis, playing with it. It seems like it's having pleasure. So we need to have an understanding of healthy sexuality, sexual behavior, and growth of children, and what you'll be seeing in different ages as they're growing in terms of sexual concerns. So thanks for joining me, and do not forget to like the video and subscribe at the end, and don't forget to hit the notification button to receive alerts when new videos are released. More in our next video. Thanks for joining me once again, and let's keep our children safe. Bye-bye.